This is Happy Half Hour, a Peoria Life web show brought to you by Enjoy Peoria. Hello and welcome to Happy Half Hour. On this week's show, we're sitting down with the Nature Conservancy to talk about Emiquon Preserve, one of the most scenic spots in the Peoria area. Then, Wheels of Time will join us to talk about their upcoming season. Of course, we'll fill your free time with some great events that are coming up this week and weekend. So sit back, relax, and stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Happy Half Hour.
2 teams down, 1 to go. The Rivermen are off to the SPHL President's Cup final against the Huntsville Havoc. Can they take home the President's Cup trophy? You'll just have to head out to Carver Arena to find out. Visit rivermen.net for ticket information.
Welcome back to Happy Half Hour. This Friday is Arbor Day, which for one means it's time to not only start enjoying nature, but finding ways to take care of it. And one place that's doing that is the Emiquon Preserve, a floodplain restoration project located right off the Illinois River in Fulton County. Joining us to talk about Emiquon is Jason Beverland from the Nature Conservancy. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
So, what is Emiquon?
We are, as you mentioned in your intro, we're 6,600 acre floodplain restoration project. We're located in Fulton County, about 50 miles south of Peoria. And the Nature Conservancy, which is a global not-for-profit organization, purchased the property in 2000. And we really had as our goal functional floodplain, this relationship between river and floodplain. And the importance of how these areas used to flood and dry out. That's really important to wetland and floodplain areas. And so we're trying to manage it to get as close to that natural process as it had. And those natural processes are really good for the plant communities. They're good for the critters that depend on those plants and depend on those wetlands. So that's really our big goal.
Okay.
And our location is great. We're right along the Illinois River. We're really close to Havana, Lewistown, and Canton, but we're also next door neighbors to Dixon Mounds Museum.
Oh, nice.
And the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They own several thousand acres around us too. So all total in that one little place along the Illinois River, we've got like 14,000 acres in conservation management.
That's amazing.
So it's a pretty cool place.
Very cool. So what can you do at Emiquon?
Yeah, so there's a lot to do in the area. Specifically at Emiquon, the Hamill family gave us a gift several years ago, and we constructed a visitor use, what we call our visitor use observatories.
Okay.
So the public's welcome to come down there. They're open 7 days a week from sunrise to sunset. We have boardwalks, so they can actually, when the water's high enough, they can walk over the boardwalks. They can see into the water. They can see the plants that are growing, the fish, those kinds of things. We also have a 2-story observation platform, and they can climb up to the top of that and get kind of a bird's eye view of the entire wetland, which is pretty cool. We have spotting scopes for them to use. A couple miles with a hiking trail. So lots of neat things there for them to do. In addition to that, we are a premier birding site. We have more than, I think, 280 species of birds that have been identified.
Wow.
We get bird watchers from all over the country that come to see birds. We have things like black-crowned night herons, black-necked stilts, pelicans. We'll have over 100,000 snow geese during the migration.
Wow.
Several 100,000 of waterfowl come through during the fall and spring migrations. So it's a birder's paradise.
Oh, yeah.
We also allow boating and fishing, so you can't have a gas-powered motor, but you can come in with paddles and electric trolling motors.
Okay.
And you can explore the wetland or you can fish. You do have to have a permit for that. So you get those at Dixon Mounds Museum, and they're good from the date that you sign them until the end of the year.
Oh,
and
nice.
then you can come and go.
That's awesome.
And a lot of people like to come out and just take their canoe into the cattails.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just sit and watch the birds, and it's a great place. Beyond us, of course, I mentioned the museum, which is a 60,000 square foot natural history museum and Native American museum. So it's a great place to stop. And then with the Fish and Wildlife Service that's there and all of the towns and things that are around us, you could come and spend a couple days with us. There's just a ton of stuff to do down there.
Yeah, I grew up in Manitou, and so I mean, it was always a field trip to Dixon Mounds as a kid, and I had the chance to go back as an adult not too long ago, and it's so cool. It's such an amazing thing that we have in this area that.
It is, and people don't recognize. I mean, even at Emiquon, we have 14 burial mounds that are located on our property. The Native American story there is a big part of the history of that place, and the only place you're going to find it is at Dixon Mounds Museum.
Yeah.
The artifacts, the the information that they've got, it's pretty cool.
It is. It's pretty awesome. We also had a chance to go out on an airboat with you, and just to see the different species of birds that you wouldn't see anywhere else. Some very entertaining birds, as I recall.
Yep, and it's almost prehistoric.
Yeah,
I mean, when you
it
get out
is.
there, you know, you get out in the middle of it, and it's just this kind of, I don't know, it's this awesome place.
Yeah, and for kayakers, it's pretty cool. We don't have a lot of, I kayak quite often. We've got a small lake in my neighborhood, but there's nothing like that where you can go and just really kind of feel like you're on a little mini adventure.
And I think it's the wetland plants that really do that. So when you've got the lotus or you've got the cattails, and you can get right in those and sort of feel all to yourself, it's pretty amazing.
It is. It's awesome. I know you guys just finished a large tree planting operation. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, we finished that as a part of the restoration work. So it's been a little bit of time has passed, but we planted 310,000 trees.
Oh my gosh.
This was a part of the overall restoration that we had done, which included the wetland, which is kind of our main focus. We also did about 600 acres of prairie.
Wow.
And we did about 100 different plants, species of plants for that. And then we did the tree planting as well, which is about 400 acres. We did both a bottomland tree planting and an upland tree planting. So a lot of variety, but kind of different types. The bottomlands can handle some seasonal flooding. They can get their feet wet on occasion, where the upland trees are less able to handle that. So you've got things like pecans and sycamores that we put in the bottomlands, and we've got a lot of like white oak and things that we put in the the upland restoration. So they're getting big. You can actually see a lot of them now. You can see the tops of them as you drive down the highway. So we're pretty excited. We had a decent survival rate, and it's a great story, and it's a great habitat, and it's one that we need in the state of Illinois.
And what an undertaking. Is that something did you guys rely on a lot of volunteers for that, or?
We did rely on volunteers. You don't pick up the phone on a Tuesday and order 310,000 trees for a Wednesday. So our restoration manager, Theron Hobson, actually worked for more than a year just to get the species and the quantities that we needed to do that type of a restoration work.
Wow.
And then the supplier had to spend, you know, they had to search, because we want the right species. It has to be native to Illinois. So they spend a lot of time on that. And the planting process, they actually sit behind a tractor. The tractor makes a slit in the ground, and they stick the rootstock in there.
Wow.
And it's basically done by 2 people.
Oh my gosh.
310,000 trees
That's
were planted
amazing.
by 2 folks.
Makes me feel bad about complaining about planting my garden in the spring.
It was a big undertaking. It was pretty fun to watch.
That's awesome. So we've talked a little bit about it, but how important is it to keep preserving things like Emiquon and to restore floodplains in general?
Yeah, so I think as we see more flooding taking place and the cost of these floods really impacting people, it impacts the biodiversity, which we're really interested in, but it also impacts people.
Yeah.
The Illinois River has a 400,000 acre floodplain, and 200,000 of it's been isolated now behind levees, which means when we get a lot of rain, the river doesn't have as many places to spread out.
Yeah.
We think that's important from a biodiversity standpoint, because those floodplains were really diverse places, really nice habitat, good communities for critters, but it also gave a place for the river to go when the water came up.
Right.
Any place that we can make where it makes sense for us to provide that connection back to the river, we think that's going to benefit not only the biodiversity, but people from a flood control, clean water. These wetland areas are really uniquely positioned to clean water. So I know with the combined sewer overflow that they're dealing with here in Peoria, they're talking about green infrastructure, and that's basically what Emiquon is a giant green infrastructure that can process a lot of these things. So dirtier water comes in, cleaner water comes out. So I think they're critically important. We have more resiliency when we have these floodplains that can act and function as close to normal as we can get them. So I think they're critical.
And then what is the Nature Conservancy's role in this?
Yeah, so we actually own the Emiquon Preserve, the
Okay.
6,600 acre preserve. The Nature Conservancy is a global not-for-profit conservation organization. We have projects and programs in all 50 states and in 36 countries, and we have staff as well. So when we get into a project, we really have a lot of resources to bring to bear to complete these things. We are a science-based organization, so we employ a lot of scientists, and we use a lot of partners to help us get through some of these I guess, some of the research that we need. Just at Emiquon, we have somewhere between 15 and 20 research projects annually.
Wow.
And we partner with organizations like the Illinois River Biological Station, Forbes Biological Station, the University of Illinois at Springfield, who actually has a field station that's built right on the Emiquon Preserve, along with Dixon Mounds and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and others. They all help us move the project forward from a science standpoint, so that as we manage the preserve, we're using science and information to make good management decisions. We're not just walking out there
Right.
and saying, oh, we ought to do this.
We
but
should
we're
put a tree there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually have science to back
That's
up
amazing.
the decisions.
That is amazing. So I think probably one of the most important questions, how do you get to Emiquon?
Yeah, so we're located, as I said earlier, we're near Dixon Mounds Museum, so that's probably the way most folks find it, is they find Dixon Mounds, and you can't get to the museum without driving through us. But you go down 24, you follow the Illinois River Road, actually, and you can go through Banner, Little America, and then you get on 7897, and we're located right off of that bigger highway. And our visitor use area is directly off 7897. So we've got a big sign that says Emiquon Preserve and the Nature Conservancy, and you can get in there that way.
And it is. It's a beautiful drive to get there, too.
It is a nice drive to get there.
Yeah.
And we encourage folks to, they come to Peoria, they should spend time in Peoria, and then they can come down for a day visit to see us. And we also have great communities down there as well, so shops and restaurants. So you can really make a day of it.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for coming on. Thank you for everything you guys are doing to conserve nature. We appreciate it so much. And if you guys want to find out more about Emiquon or the Nature Conservancy, head over to their website, nature.org. Stay tuned. More Happy Half Hour is ahead.
Get out your calendars, because we're about to fill your free time. Take part in a fun way to help a community cause. As Peoria Community Against Violence holds their second P-Town Soup of the Year on April 26th. What is P-Town Soup? You get a dinner consisting of awesome soup, salad, desserts, and then you get to listen to organizations talk about what they are doing positively for the community. For a $5 donation, you get to vote on who wins. Visit the PCAV Facebook page to learn more. Head out to Wildlife Prairie Park on April 28th for the Fight to the Finish 5K. Work your way through extreme obstacles and challenging terrain, including brick walls, mud crawls, and more. Money raised goes to the Children's Hospital of Illinois. Head over to the Fight to the Finish website for more information. Join Wildlife Prairie Park at Bison Blessing and Powwow, a Native American ceremony co-hosted by Seven Circles Heritage Center, April 28th and 29th. Activities start with the blessing of the park's bison herd and their summer pasture, followed by a celebration through dance, arts, crafts, live animals, and demonstrations. Visit the Wildlife Prairie Park website to learn more. Want to know about the next local concert? There is a new Facebook page that makes it easier for you. Peoria Music Live is a central resource for all the live music shows in the Peoria area. It promotes a number of shows from open mic nights to big concerts. If you want in on the Peoria area music scene, head over to Peoria Music Live on Facebook. Looking for more fun events? Head over to our website, enjoypeoria.com, or visit us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Enjoy Peoria.
Back to Happy Half Hour. Well, if you want to step back in time and see what life was like not too long ago, the Peoria area has a hidden gem for you. It's called the Wheels of Time Museum, located just north of Peoria. And while many people in the area know of the museum or have visited it, the museum has a number of changing exhibits each year. Museum is about to open for this season next week, May 2nd. Joining us to talk about that is Marketing Director Bobby Rice. So, Bobby, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
So, first question: how excited are you for the opening this year?
We're excited. It's been a long winter. We're ready for spring, and we're not, getting our exhibits together is a little bit difficult, but we made it. We've done it.
Perfect.
Challenge is made.
So, for those of a lot of us, who grew up in the Peoria area, know what the Wheels of Time Museum is. But for those who don't, can you kind of explain it and tell us what it is?
Wheels of Time is now comprised of 5 buildings. It's kind of a step back in time in history of manufacturing in the Peoria area the last 50 to over 100 years. So there's a variety of things to experience in there. It's a combination of cars, planes, trains, music room, grandma's kitchen, and so much more to see. And there's many buttons to press. Families of all ages and children and adults, if they each have it's a different experience for each age level you're working with. Adults can go through and learn a lot of things if they stop and read the signs. There's a lot to read and a lot to see, and you can absorb it at one time. The kids enjoy certain activities that appeal to them, and they want to make repeat trips to that area over and over again.
And when we talk about that, coming back, over and over again,
Right.
each time it's, you really can have a different experience each time, right?
Right, you can. A group was through a while back last year, and one adult group, they said, I didn't know this, but I was chasing my granddaughter when I came last time, which was 15 years ago. Now I can stop and read and learn about these things I couldn't before. So that's why it's really appealing for adults to come, because they can actually see more history of the area and the state, especially in the 200th year celebration of the state of Illinois.
And what are some of the new, I know you guys change out exhibits on occasion. What are some of the new exhibits you have this year?
One of our new exhibits has been a challenge. It's a steel house made by R.G. Letourneau. And it's a kind of a takeoff concept of what we consider the small house and becoming in vogue today. This was a 24 by 24 foot steel house made in the mid-30s. R.G. Letourneau made these for his employees because there was not enough housing in Peoria at that time. This particular home never left the factory until last year, when it was refurbished courtesy of the Landmark Foundation of Central Illinois raised the funds for this to get it moved, refurbishing done, and then for it to come out to our museum, final refurbishing for a now display.
One of the unique aspects of the museum, and one of my favorite parts, is how hands-on it is, like the hands-on displays. How does that make the museum, not just educational, but enjoyable for people?
I think it makes it a person feel a little more relaxed. They can realize they can walk in there and not really feel intimidated. They can touch things. Nobody's going to say no on certain things, other things. But we encourage buttons to be pressed and certain interaction to be done. That's what we want to be done by adults and children. We had a group out the other day, a charter group before we even opened, and they were playing with the circus parade. They were just having a ball with it. So it's a chance where other museums you can't touch anything. Here there's some things you can touch. You can go in the library. You can pick up a musical instrument. You can look at things in Grandma's kitchen. Oh my gosh, the ingredients on this object, I didn't realize what it was. There's different things that you can experience throughout the whole facility.
And I feel like when you're able to do that, you're able to retain more information too. I mean, do you get that like from people walking in, going through this stuff and be like, oh my gosh, I learned this, and they're able to retain it?
Yes, I do. And not only that, it's interesting because when the kids come through, they'll write letters, thank you letters back to us. And you never know what they're going to enjoy. And it's amazing the topics they pick out. They pick out something that we thought was very obscure. And they just were attracted by that. And one child liked whatever item, another child liked another item. And it's just so amazing. Now the adults, had an adult come here last year who said, I was here the previous year. I wanted to come back and bring my grandkids. She had a great day. She says, I had a wonderful time going through. So it's an experience for all ages. A grandmother said, it was perfect. My grandchild got to see this from a different perspective, but I got to show this to my daughter from my perspective.
Excellent. And for those of us who are just tuning in, we're here with Bobby Rice from the Wheels of Time Museum, which is opening next week. Many of the items that you guys have on display were actually made in the Peoria area, and a lot of them are also maybe not necessarily made here, but are personify the Peoria area. How important is it to preserve, our area's history?
It's very important because there's not many places to do this, and the many visitors have said thank you for preserving these items because we wouldn't have been able to see them again or relive this time. And like we have a Veely car made by John Deere's grandchildren. Well, the Veely dealership was just down the street from where the studio is right now, and I can tell people about that, and they're amazed to know that building still stands.
And not just you, but all of you volunteers, I feel like they have a good wealth of knowledge when it comes to the exhibits that you have, where in a situation like that you can bring that up because someone like me would not necessarily know that car dealership was there. How important is that to the volunteer base being able to know not just like about the exhibits, but can go in depth with people that are interested in them?
I think it's very important because many of these people have worked on building these exhibits. And that's another, so they really do know some more about, and they've done the research history. And it's really important because, and some of these, and also that's another topic along with the volunteers. We need more volunteers because our volunteer base is aging. And We also have more projects, and we just need more volunteers. But it is important. I think the more you're involved with the museum, the more you're working on things, the more interested you become, and you get drawn from one area to another area, and all of a sudden you become familiar with several things in the entire 5 buildings we have to offer.
For those who want to volunteer, how can they sign up?
They can contact the museum, and we have multiple different areas. We're looking for both men and women in all different areas.
I know you guys have a big event coming up in July. It's one of your bigger events, the tractor display and the drive to Princeville. Can you kind of talk about that and what that is?
Yeah, what it is, the Central Illinois Heritage Tractor Club brings their tractors out for about 5 days to exhibit at our museum from July 22nd, I believe, to the 26th. And they're out in front. People can stop by and look at these antique tractors anytime they're going by the museum. And then on the 27th at 9 o'clock in the morning, there's a drive. These tractors get out and they drive on Route 40 on up to Princeville to kick off the Heritage Museum Festival that they have up there for that weekend, Tractor Days. And then we'll have a fall festival in October.
How long does it take for the tractors, for the parade from start to finish, going to the museum and starting at the museum and going to Princeville? How long does that take?
It takes about an hour to get there. And, we think of things in a car. It doesn't take an hour to get from our museum to Princeville. Well, it does on a tractor because of the speed you're going.
Well, I mean, for those of us who have driven 40 and Route 91 a bunch of times, you kind of understand what it's like to drive behind a tractor.
The thing is, what they do is they're on 40 and then they take country roads the rest of the way. And that makes it a little bit easier. And they try to change their route each year. But it makes it so they're not trying to block traffic. And we do have the county highway department, the police department, just start out with them.
And what kind of tractors do you guys have?
That group has John Deere, IH, you name it. They have a different variety of tractors that they bring whatever tractor they want to bring that day time to do the run. And also anybody else in the community that has a tractor that wants to join in the parade, just call the group and you can become a part of the parade.
And these are are they just antique tractors, or do you have some newer ones, like maybe ones that you can see out in the field now? Or
no, these are all antique. None of the current tractors. These are all old tractors, probably 50 years old and beyond is the age. So that's what's more marvelous, the fact that they've kept them running, just like the antique cars. They've kept them running.
Yeah. When are you guys open up? Let me see, that May 2nd, so that's Wednesday?
We open up next Wednesday, May 2nd, and we're open Wednesday through Sunday, noon to 5, May through October 31st, and we're open summer holidays. Our hours are noon to 5 p.m.
All right, and you said, you're excited. Are you guys ready? How much more preparation do you guys have in the next week?
Well, a lot. There's more things to do for the steel house inside. It'll be ready to be open, but furnishings will be added as the year goes on, and just different finishing touches around the whole facility need to be done. Yeah, it's just part of life.
I know this may be the hardest question for you, but what's your favorite exhibit? What's your favorite part of the museum?
I don't have a favorite part. I like the entire museum, and I say that because I do like everything we have to offer, and also everybody's perspective is different on what they like or don't like. And I just feel but I like everything. I'm proud of what this group of volunteers have done. This is our 36th season for being open. And it's been an all-volunteer base. We're now a 501c3 corporation. And so it's been a big part of several people's lives started over 40 years ago. And so it's kind of a big preparation for a lot of things, a lot of background things that you don't see going on in the front.
And you talk about going back to the volunteers. I mean, it just seems like they're all super dedicated to what they do, which makes it better for people to learn about the museum and a little bit of the history.
They are, and people have their different niches of what their skills happen to be or what they want to be dealing with, and those are the things that they choose, because they may have worked in one profession when they were in the working world. They may want to say, I want to do something else when I retire. I have these skills in this area. Fine, we can use you in this area. That's great. If you like, we'd like to have you.
Well, it's awesome to kind of see the passion that you guys have, because I know every time I see you, you always ask, when are you coming back out? When are you coming back out? You have to see this exhibit. You have to see this exhibit. And me being a history buff,
Right.
is, I remember going through, especially when I was younger and seeing some stuff and just being like, how amazed And, you know, not just learning about the history, but like you said, you know, doing the hands-on exhibits, it's way more interactive than you can get at many other museums. So.
Well, there's 6 stories done by Bill Adams with a WMED radio display, for example. And you can sit down in the Bradley Theater seats from the old field house and listen to a story by Bill Adams.
That's cool.
And then we have the Ag Lab display. There's animated dolls. They came from one of the department stores downtown. And then there's Princess Peggy. They made house dresses in Peoria. We have some samples of that work. And there's just a variety of things to see, so it's not just all cars and trains. And we have our fire engines, and one's from 1855, but it's hard to imagine that it's been restored, and it looks nice out there. And it took 30 men to draw to a fire.
Wow.
And then we have the 1931 Aaron's Fox fire truck, which was just restored and finished last year after 4.5 years of renovation. I saw that many years ago when it was just a total basket case. I didn't think it would ever get done. It's done now.
Awesome. Well, there's always so much to do at the museum. And if you're interested in going to the museum and or wanting to learn more about it, you know, you can head on over to their website, wheelsofTime.org. So, Bobby, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Stay tuned. More Happy Half Hours next.
Hi, I'm Mike Kuchin, owner of Kuchi's in the Water. Come try our shipwreck Bloody Mary.
Let the good times roll at the 3rd Annual Mardi Gras and May Street Festival, brought to you by Enjoy Peoria. Saturday, May 12th, Water Street turns into Bourbon Street with live music, amazing Cajun food and drinks, street performers, artists, and much more. You won't want to miss this free, one-of-a-kind event. Interested? Head on over to the Mardi Gras and May Street Festival Facebook page to learn more. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's episode of Happy Half Hour. Time really does fly when you're having fun. Remember, if you're ever looking for a new restaurant to try, a fun new attraction, or an event that's going on in the area, check us out on our website, enjoypeoria.com, for a full calendar of events. Or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Remember, like my mom always says, if you're bored, it's because you're boring. So get out there and enjoy Peoria. Thanks for joining us.
PeoriaLife.com